Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review, impressions of a knife. This is the QSP Penguin with the Glyde Lock. Alright, today we're looking at the QSP Penguin Glyde Lock. This is a knife that came out from QSP at Blade Show Atlanta in 2025, right around that time. Now you're thinking, I've seen the Penguin before, what's the big deal? Well, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. This one is a little special. First of all, this won the Blade Show Atlanta 2025 Best Buy of the Year. That's a big deal, right? And when you first think about that, you're thinking, you hear that, but what do you mean? All right, so first of all, let's talk about the material. First of all, that's the Penguin. It's an internal design by QSP. QSP is the manufacturer. It's a company over in China, so I'm going to say it's an internal design. They're the manufacturer. The name of the knife is the Penguin. It's been around a long time. Came out with a frame lock, liner lock, usually on phosphor bronze washers, all different versions and variants of this particular knife, both good and bad, right? They had some fancy ones. I know traditional pocket knives. I had some of those jig titanium ones, and some people came out with even Damascus scales and all sorts of crazy, crazy stuff, which is all very cool. Most of them were frame locks or some were liner locks. This is what they call the Glyde Lock. It's basically the axis lock or the crossbar lock. So Benchmade first came out with the axis lock, which they first patented that, and then the patent ran out and people could do it. And it's called a crossbar lock. For instance, I believe Hogue calls it I think they call it the Able lock at Hogue. I think it's a clutch lock at Kaiser. It's a river lock at TRM. All different names for it, right? They call this the Glyde Lock, and you're like, okay, well, Glyde Lock, what it's smooth or something, whatever. Well, when I got this, I had heard that, right? And I had asked David over at QSP if I could, hey, is there a chance I could check one of these out? I was going to buy one. He said, no, here, let me send you one. And I was like, man, thank you, David. I appreciate that, because this will eventually be a giveaway. And it is a really, I was floored. Okay, so full disclosure, I did get this for free. Yes, thank you. But it is not, my opinion of this thing is not based on the fact that this was given to me for free, first of all, because I would have dogged it just equally if I'd paid for it, right? But there's so many things that they thought about this particular variant of it. I was really blown away. Let's talk about it. FRN scales, that's injected molding. And you think, okay, so that saves a lot of money. Well, and so what's the big deal about that? Well, there are steel liners in here, and they are weight relieved inside. It's still solid. There's no weakness in this scale. So, okay, that's cool. You got jimping here, jimping up here. That's cool. It's rounded and contoured. It's got texture on the scales. That's really nice. Sure. You've got this nice clip, steel clip. It is a steel clip. Just be aware. Steel clip. No worries. It is a steel liner in here. These are steel liners, so that's fine. It's a budget knife. It's close to being almost a super budget knife, right? This could almost be in that realm, but it's not quite. But what you get here is ridiculous. 14C 28N blade steel. So that's a really great budget steel. That's definitely a step above D2 or something like that. Also, beautiful standoffs in the back. Reversible clip. It does have an insert here that you can easily reverse and put on the other side and swap it out. So left hand, right hand tip up. Being that it's a crossbar lock, it's truly ambidextrous, right? And this crossbar lock has this that goes on top of the lock bar that goes across, and it's fitted between the scales with this FRN material. But what's so amazing, it is so unbelievably comfortable. It has just enough, if you can see that, just enough little rays going that way, enough texture on here, give you texture, so it's very easy to open and close. That's really nice. Thumb studs here, nice little track on both sides. So, and you just put your thumb right on there and it deploys just perfectly. Well, I mean, the Penguin here from QSP has already figured this out. They know, where's the best deployment for the thumb stud. Now, it is that Penguin, big old kind of a flat grind, and it sticks out. So guess what? Middle finger reverse bonus flick. So, and left and right handed. Oops, I went a little aggressive because I wasn't sure how hard it would be. Forgot, it's pretty easy. So that's really nice. So we have multiple deployments. I think that's really great already. Yeah, I was blown away by that. I thought to myself, okay, FRN scale steel liners, reversible pocket clip, okay, crossbar lock with this incredible texture on here with this angle, which makes this super comfortable, super easy to work. You could sort of work it one hand. It's like any crossbar lock. It works best with 2 fingers, right? So it's a best 2-finger. It's not really a button lock kind of friendly, but these thumb studs work really great. Reverse flick works really nicely. Likewise over here, reverse flick works really nicely. So I think that's absolutely stupendous. I love the big old standoffs. They are pretty robust and strong, so that's really nice. And this 14C28, kind of a true, I would call it a Wharncliffe sort of a blade shape right here. Got that satin kind of finish right there, and then the stone wash up here. I think that's a really nice touch. It almost looks hand satin, but it's belt satin. It's a very fine belt satin. I think that's really nice. I do like that. Thumb studs, again, work really fantastic. Beautiful height, and it's got a nice little step milled going up, which really makes them comfortable and useful. So I do appreciate that. It is caged bearings on here. Yeah, caged bearings on here, so that makes this action just simply stunning, right? Close it and just closes really well. You can just go all day here. So that's really, really nice. It's not a super giant knife. Now, if you remember, there was a Penguin XL or a Penguin X or L or whatever they call it. I think I had an XL. Then there was a mini Penguin. So I'm sure this will at some point go to that. And I really hope, legitimately, I hope traditional pocket knives, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, but if you were, I hope you make one of your jigged titanium versions out of this with this glide lock. I don't know if it's part of the FRN scales and you have to use some other material, but please, man, please, please, please. I love this. I think this works. If you can get the right material to work as nicely as this, I think this would be stunning. It's one of my favorite crossbar lock versions that they have out there. I think it's just really great. Great size. I love the fact this doesn't stick out a lot. There's some other ones that they had where this went down and it really couldn't get your hand in there. So I've got large hands with big old meaty fingers. You got enough room. I can choke up, which means I get a lot extra room. So, I mean, it is a little smaller knife. We'll do some measurements here in a second to get a hold of that. The blade is super crazy sharp with that 14C28. Straps up and sharpens really nicely. Love the spine up here. It's almost rounded, so it's really nice, not sharp. Definitely has a strong, robust tip getting into boxes, fertilizer, cat food, case of water, all sorts of stuff. So that's really nice. I think that's great. All right, the closing, like I said, it's always great. That crossbar lock, but it's got a nice crisp, we call it detent. That's what it's technically not a detent. It's a crossbar with a spring, the Omega springs, and that's really what's causing the resistance. So it's got a nice crossbar Omega spring resistant, or like people refer to generically as detent. It's what allows it to store that pressure up and then overcome it and deploy well, right? So it's like you have the static, and then you reach that threshold and boom, it's kinetic, right? So that's nice. And it works really well. Left-handed, reverse, and front flick. I think that's really nice. I love this again. I don't know if this is one of those that I can just work all day and feel very comfortable, like I'm not going to drop. It's just a great placement. Feels really good. I think Kunwu did something with their crossbar. I really like theirs as well. Theirs is different. They did it with a titanium, so I do think there's a way to do it. I just think this is a little different because this goes inside and works. It's called the Glide Lock, so I'm sure there's some little patent, whatever, or at least some copyright, or I don't know, however that works. But anyways, I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's cool. All right, so let's do some measurements here real quick. Let's weigh this guy. How much does this guy weigh? I think it's about 3 ounces, maybe a little under. I don't know. Let's see. 2.9 ounces, just a little bit under for sure, which is great. That's a great weight for a knife, I think. Can't really complain at that weight. I think that's pretty outstanding. All right, so let's measure the length. Where's my ruler? There we are. Make sure that's off screen. All right, so we are just at 7 1/8. So it's definitely not a fuller size. It's a little smaller. Handle area, if you go from here to here, it's about 3.5. If you go inside, it's 3 inches. But if you do the choke up to all the way in the back, you're about 3 7/8. Like I said, all right. From the tip to the back of the scale, you're about 3 1/8 as well. Cutting length is going to be 2 7/8. 2 7/8. So it's definitely under 3 for cutting, but just remember, a lot of times knife laws go from the tip to the scale. So keep that in mind. All right, so blade stock thickness. Let me grab my caliber here. Blade stock thickness we're dealing with 120 thousandths, right on the nose. I mean, come on. Yeah, 120,000. Is it the same all the way out? It does thin out a little bit on the edge, but right here about 120,000, right? So I think that's cool. Very, very cool. What are we dealing with here as far as this knife? All right, so this one is actually in a super budget realm for $49. And if you go to some place like White Mountain Knives, you usually get 10% off. So this will make this about $45. This is absolutely a super budget knife. You get a lot for a super budget knife. I mean, yeah, that's a lot. That's a ridiculous amount. Yeah, for 45 bucks, that's insane. Now they have some with that aluminum foil scale, which is really cool, by the way. I really, really dig that. Those are about 66, so they'd be about 60 bucks, maybe just under $60 with your 10% discount, right? But wow, this is phenomenal for under $50, for even $45. I mean, this is a super budget knife. This definitely going to be an all-time contender as far as I'm concerned. This is definitely in contention for 2025 as one of the best budget knives out there, super budget knives out there for sure. This is just really great. This is probably one of my favorite for the price implementation of the crossbar lock. I think it's just simply stunning. All right, so being that that's a super budget knife, what's the purpose? EDC hard use collection piece? Well, for me, a super budget knife is usually not a collection piece. You collect what you collect. Love what you buy and buy what you love and collect whatever you want, man, right? For me, I will never say this is a collection piece. A super budget knife and a budget knife are tools to be used, beaten up, and then replaced. That's what makes them a great buy, because you can replace them relatively inexpensively. So I think that's pretty nice. Hard use, absolutely. This crossbar lock is going to be solid. You know, some people are, you know, Omega springs. Also, I've never had an Omega spring break except for one that I took apart like 15 times, and I'm pretty sure I screwed it up when I reassembled it one time. And it's probably my fault, but I've yet to have one that broke just never being touched and just decided to snap. I've never had that happen. So anyways, that being said, I think it's pretty solid for hard use. Keep in mind, it's not a fixed blade, it's not an axe, right? It's not a pry bar. Use the right tool for the right job, but I think this would be a great tool for many jobs. Definitely an EDC knife. Love the fact that it's reversible. You do have these kind of recessed screws, and the clip is actually inset into the scale. So this gives you tons of clearance room going in and out of the pocket. Super full carry, deep pocket, which is, I think, astounding. Wonderfully dead nut centered here. Let's see, can we get that dead nut centered right? Beautifully locked in place. No play. Any pivot lash? No, all that's really good. So really fantastic. So absolutely hard use. Overall design, handles open and close. Handles are great, comfortable, rounded, everything. Couldn't ask for more. Opening and closing is great. This is just a fantastic implementation of the Penguin. Probably one of my favorite implementations yet. I would love, like I said, to see traditional pocket knives do a jig titanium, something really fancy. Opening and closing is fantastic. It's just buttery smooth. The caged bearings work really well, and they've done a great job. For $45, it's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. Texturing on here is really nice, especially with the FRN scales. That really works out greatly. There's jimping here that works nicely. They've got jimping inside here as well, right? So that's good for, like, if you got a push cut going into leather, cardboard, plastic, cardboard, or leather, whatever. Same with a pull cut. It is nice. I think that's really great. So that jimping is great, gives you some nice traction. The clip, it's a steel clip. Steel clips aren't always my favorite. That's why I was hoping there'd be a premium version with something titanium. I tend to bend steel clips and kind of ruin them. There's a lanyard, so lanyard people rejoice. It's not prioritized, so I rejoice in that. It's just a nice aesthetic. It kind of matches the button, you know, the crossbar button that's attached to the crossbar in the crossbar lock, right? So I think it kind of matches. It looks aesthetically symmetrical. So to me, that's a nice touch. I don't know if it was intentional, because I think all of the Penguins had the same thing, but it matches here, and I think that works. All right, Ergo's action, design, flow, and function. I've always liked the Penguin. It's been a really fun knife. It's very functional. It works flat grind. It's a nice slicer. Depending on how thin you get it, you could even get maybe a hollow grind in there. This could probably get thinner. It could be a full flat grind. You could get fancy with it if you wanted to. But the handles work great. The opening, closing, the ergos are great. The action is fantastic. It's buttery smooth, works great. Opening, closing, and it's solid in there, right? the design flow is a Penguin, and we all come to love the Penguin. Penguin is an evergreen version of a knife for QSP. I mean, it's like Penguin could be continually be revitalized with all the different locks, different things that they come out with, and I think it'll just keep going because it's a great design. It's a really functional, great. It's like the Penguin is like QSP's Benchmade Bug Out, right? It's like CJRB's a Pyrite. It would be like you know, those types of knives, right? They're like evergreen types of products, like Spyderco's Para 3, PM2, right? That'd be one of those types of things. The function, it's a great function. It just really works great. Executed well, solid in there. You feel like you're going to be solidly working. You're not going to be questioning it. So I feel like it's a solid tool as far as that's concerned. Fidget factor scale. What do I think? Well, thumb studs work great, left and right handed. And they reverse flick, front flick. You've got the bonus with the crossbar lock. And then you got the middle finger, if I can do this correctly. Middle finger reverse flick, if I'm not doing it for the camera. Hold on. That's, all right. Now there we go. I feel like I was doing it for the camera. There we go. And then could I even, I wonder. Oh my gosh, I can't, I could, okay. You've got the slow roll that you can do. You can even do a slow roll on the blade, right? And I can do all that left-handed as well, which just makes this great. I'm gonna give this a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 because you really have 2 deployment methods. You got a bonus, so yeah, a 5. I think it's pretty generous. A 5 out of 10 is really good. But they're solid. It's a solid 5 out of 10. I really, really like that. What I think the fidgety goodness of that 5 out of 10. I can tell you, as long as I know, if I remember where the crossbar lock is, I got to get low. You got to get down by the blade. You do that, and it's usually pretty second nature if you're not doing it for the camera, right? So I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it 100. For $45, I have to give it 100. This is just done so well for 45 bucks. I mean, as of this video, that's what it cost. I mean, that's if you go to White Mountain Knives, you get the 10% discount. Remember, use RNK10, you get 10% off using that. And it was listed for $49 as of this dropping of this video, listed for 49 bucks. And with 10% off, it would make it about 45. So there you go. I would recommend that. Maybe $44 and maybe $45.10. I don't know, or a 1 cent. I don't know, somewhere around there, right? But it's a deal. It's a heck of a deal. I think you're going to be happy with it. Again, those prices are as of this video, always subject to change. Just keep that in mind. So yeah, 100%. Is it recommended? 100%. Yeah, of course this is recommended. Is it a favorites? Yeah, this is absolutely a favorites. If I was going to recommend a knife for someone who didn't want to do the frame lock, who didn't, you know, button lock maybe, they weren't too sure about that, or kind of not sure if they would be, this crossbar lock is just a really fidgety, friendly kind of a lock, and it works, it's comfortable, and it's a great price for, you know, it just really is. And I would feel good saying, all right, you want to get into knives, I don't know what your commitment is, I don't know how much you want to spend. Let's say you don't have a lot, this would definitely be I wish this was my first knife that I'd gotten into. This is by far 14C28 blade steel with a great locking mechanism and clip. Yeah, it's crazy. That's why it's a favorites for sure. All right, love to hear what your thoughts are on this knife. Well, before we do that, let's do a quick zoom in here, just for fun, so we can take a look at that beautiful blade, that kind of a Wharncliffe blade with that nice satin finish on there. You see the thumb studs. Then you can see the QSP. Now this is like a Tiffany sort of almost blue. I don't know what the color is. I think it's baby blue or something. It's officially QSP Penguin, which is a nice little touch. Very minimal billboarding on there. Again, I love what's on these guys. You can see they're kind of slightly tilted up a little bit out. Then you've got the inset thing here for the clip, so you can reverse it. You got, looks like T6s here, right? And then you go over here, it's a T8. And then you got the clip over here, lots of room, easy clearance, can get in thick jeans. You got these standoffs in the back, right? And then you got a little jimping up here and jimping up here that works pretty well, I think. And then this is the screw on the back. This is captive, this is the screw, right? T8's there. Then you can see inside the steel liners on both sides. Got some milling cut out to get in there. So that does help with a little bit of weight relief in many ways. Again, 14C28 blade steel. I think that's a great deal. That's really fantastic. I think you're very happy with that. So yeah, really nice blade overall. I think, again, you got that wonderful, I mean, you got the QSP there, you got 14C, that's it. That's really it. Nothing on the clip, thank God. So really nice clean design, I think. So, all right, let's get a nice little shot here for our video. What do you think? This would be a great little video shot right here. So we can take a little snapshot of that. Click, 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 right? So I can do that for the video. Do a nice little back view here for you guys so you can see it, right? I do this for the thumbnail, yes, but also so you can get a nice close-up and look at it and see what you think. All right, now I think it's time. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. You guys have one of these? What do you think of yours? Have you enjoyed it so far? Been a good knife for you? Love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for watching. Why don't you comment down below if you know you've enjoyed yours or you're thinking about getting one. If you have a friend you want to get a knife for, I'm going to recommend this. This is something I'd buy. I'd buy for them. Absolutely. This would be my recommendation. First time knife buyer, you don't want to spend a lot, you're not sure, you want to give them a good solid knife, this would be one. You don't like the crossbar lock, get their frame lock, get their liner lock. They have different locks. It's definitely worth, I can't wait till they do the top liner lock. I'm sure that's got to be coming out at some point. That will be fun too. All right. Like I said, if you found this content fun, interesting, entertaining, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button as well. Subscribing and liking the videos really helps me out, allows the channel to grow, produce more content, do more things, ultimately more things for you guys. So thank you to everyone out there. I appreciate every one of you guys who's part of the channel, comments, the live streams, everything. Thank you. If you haven't already, some of you guys didn't know about this, there is a link or a little button down here for notifications. That way, if you click on that, you can be notified of this and other future videos when they come out. And a big shout out to my channel members. You do 2 amazing things for me. You encourage me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Secondly, because of your generous support, you allow this channel to do things way sooner than we could. Things that we could do way sooner than I ever thought we could, right? Weekly budget banger giveaways, borrow knives, cover cost shipping, different things that we got to pay for the channel. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys do a huge part of making this channel what it is, and I very much appreciate you guys. If any of that sounds, before I almost jumped. As a small way for me to say thank you to you guys, I want to do 2 things for you. Brand new channel members, email me your name and address so I can mail you a channel sticker and a thank you note. Brand new channel members, if you haven't email me. Secondly, channel members, you become eligible for the once a month members exclusive giveaway. So that 1 week when we have the members giveaway, that'll be the second giveaway. The first giveaway is the budget banger giveaway, and you are eligible for both as members. It's not one or the other. Members, that's a separate giveaway just for you, and the regular giveaway, you're totally eligible for that, right? So just keep that in mind. If any of that sounds interesting, you said, hey, I'd like to become a member. How does that happen? There's a link down below in the description. I have 3 different tiers. Would love to have you. Basic tier, medium, and high tier. If you want to become a member, I'm honored. I'm grateful. But please don't do it if you don't want to. You're not pressured, just right. But if you choose to do it, I am very grateful. Thank you. All right. Thank you to everyone. Appreciate you all. You guys are amazing. If you haven't already, maybe consider checking me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.